My bad.
No, don't worry about it.
Big time shit be getting me and shit.
It's all good. No worries.
How's it going?
Shit, man. Chilling, killing, acting like a villain, drug dealing. You know how it is.
Yep, trying to stay positive.
I mean, during these times, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Straight up, no lie on that one.
Shit.
Just gotta stay on top of it. Whatever it is you gotta do to stay up. You know?
Yep. So before we get started, is there anything you don't want brought up at all? Like any specific topics? Kind of an open book?
Nope, I'm an open book for sure.
For sure. Cool. Well, we'll just lead right into it right now. See, I don't have an introduction for this podcast, but I do go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest.
Sista Eyerie.
Sista Eyerie. And you know what? I believe I first heard about you a couple years ago. I just don't exactly know when exactly, but it was off the Velda Wonder track, Pursuit of. And I've been tuning in and out. I try to find some newer songs, but for some reason really couldn't. But then I actually seen your name come up again with the Brujas. So
yeah. I'm actually gonna drop my first ever solo EP this year. I really have been mostly working in groups, so this is my first time doing a solo project that's gonna just be solely just Eyerie, and of course I got Brujas on there and Belle and a couple features, but other than that I don't have anything online yet. That's why you really can't find much. I'm elusive.
All right, cool. I'm looking forward to that. Cool. That knocked out 3 of my questions, but we're about to go ahead and get into some basic shit just because there are a couple of interviews I've seen and stuff, but for those that are just tuning in for the first time, we'll just get those out the way. You know what I'm saying? So where you from and how long you been making music for?
I've been making music for a long time. I guess it started off with poetry about 20 years ago or so. I started just becoming more into the poet of the inner poet. That's where it started from. But I was born in LA and raised in Mexico, mostly my youth, and then I came back to LA and was fully bred in Echo Park for most of my teenage years. So I'm an LA girl for sure. I love LA and live in LA, and I always come back to LA no matter where I go. So that's where I'm rooted. And being from LA, you get a lot of music here and a lot of different influences. And my parents, they were really, really into good music, so they exposed me to a lot of good stuff. And I was able to kind of find my own sound, I should say, through different groups and different genres and different experiences and experiments. And now I'm in this kind of melange where it's not reggae, but it's not hip hop, but it's both. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Is that and what's it called? Is that kind of how it is your brother with the Hermanos Eyerie duo?
Yeah, the Hermanos Eyerie. So I had a project called Gorilla Queens, and that kind of ended without album dropping. And so my brother was like, "You want to do some music? We can do something, And I was like, "Let's call it Hermanos Eyerie. Let's drop an album." And that's where Eyerie Kush comes from. So the song that I have one video out there, 2 videos out there. One is from the Hermanos. Both of them are actually from the Hermanos Eyerie album, and one my brother produced. And Hermanos Eyerie had I think 7, 8 tracks. It was pretty good. I mean, it was a mix up of things that he and I had come up with together. But yeah, both videos that I was able to put out are from the Hermanos Eyerie project. And it's a reggae song and then a hip hop song. So
yeah, see that's one thing I kind of liked about that kind of that music you brought out. That was from 4 years ago, at least from what SoundCloud said.
Yeah.
But it's actually it's a newer sound. You can't really find the good combination like that so much. There are people that can try it.
It was definitely invoking that reggae dance hall, but also the modern hip hop movement. With that underground feel. We really wanted to stick to who we're the truest selves that we could be. So that's what the album really portrayed, and my brother, put a lot of work into the production of it. He did mix and master, and he's currently working on mastering my album, and that's where I'm at right now. It's eventually I'm gonna drop the project. It's gonna be just like I did with Eyerie Kush. I didn't tell anyone. I just on 420 of 2016, I think it was. I just dropped a video and dropped an album and threw a big old party. That was pretty much how I did it. And Eyerie Kushmas, which I did in December, was kind of like that, where I had the songs playing, so people were kind of there for a listening party, album listening experience, and I called it a CBD listening experience because we started off the whole thing with the CBD sound bath, and so like I like to include people in the art that I do, and that to me is like the most important thing. Is like I want you to experience my music. I don't want you to just listen to it, So experience what I go through as an artist, and experience the feelings that I get when I hear my own music, So I want to share that with people.
Yeah, you said a CBD shower bath or something like that?
It was a CBD sound bath, yeah.
Sound bath. Okay, so like what is that exactly?
You go so you ever been to a sound bath?
No, I mean is that like I think I might have heard Joe Rogan and Kid Cudi talk about it in an interview one time.
Yeah, it's like so it's like the crystal bowls. They're like big crystal bowls, and you also have like small Buddha bowls. They're called Buddha bowls. They're just basically like copper or brass or something. I think they're brass. And they, the crystal ones, they create different frequencies, different sizes to create different frequencies, and they're healing frequencies because technically we're all energy and we're all a frequency. So these healing sounds, soothe you, and they can do something from like put you to sleep to like heal ailments, And then of course the CBD to me is a big thing because I'm a big advocate of marijuana, medical marijuana, and all the medicine that it brings to us. So CBD was included in our tea prior to going into the sound bath. So you come in, you get a cup of tea, you drink it, it has CBD in it, and then you experience this sound bath. That's a complete like healing experience because I believe music is medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm the same way with people. Like usually like when people like kind of talk about like, I guess like not the ignorant ones, but the ones that just simply don't agree with the whole like marijuana healing components. It's just like. Yeah, it just matters about what your tolerance is. You gotta learn about yourself before doing so anyway. You know what I'm saying? And like that's why like when they say like like marijuana only like leads to like laziness or like like other drugs, it's like, well, I mean that's depends on the person though. You can't blame it on that. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
Like for myself,
I always tell people like, well, what do you take for pain?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I take Tylenol, aspirin, and this and that. I was like, well, that comes from a plant too. Like the medicinal aspects of most of the medicine that is used has to have some type of plant derivative or synthetic copy of a plant derivative. So it's like you guys, can pick and choose. I choose the most rawest form of my medicine, and it happens to be cannabis. So like at that point, you can choose and you can pick and choose, whatever you want. Some people like tea, some people like tobacco, to pray, whatever they decide, to do with the medicines that are offered. Like the herbs are there for a reason, and some of them definitely are healing, and some of them kill us. Some of them can help, and some of them can hurt. So it's about finding what helps you. Like what nature does is balance, and if you have anything that we can find in nature is a balance. For every positive, there's a negative, and vice versa.
Oh, absolutely. Like as for myself, like I wish I could be productive while smoking weed. But I'm just completely sometimes. So that's why I usually just smoke when I knock out. And then,
and some people don't knock out with it. Like, I like sativas, and I like to stay up and do creative shit with it,
Yeah.
And then, of course, I know myself well enough to know, okay, this is going to put me to sleep. So I feel like if we were more accountable and responsible, we wouldn't have to have these restrictions for the sake of, like, not having addictions and not having problems with like reoccurring things. But it's mostly to do with like our own mental health and well-being and like access that we have. Some people don't have access to that, and they refer to drugs, aka drugs that are harmful, and that do cause problems. For me personally, like if I ever found that something caused a problem, I would find a better solution to whatever needs help, in my body. Like I stopped eating meat a long time ago because I didn't feel good eating it. I don't go around preaching it to people, but to my personal well-being, I never liked the feeling I got after having a heavy meal of red meat. That's just how I was.
Yeah.
And like now here we are, like where people are really questioning the necessity of it, in their bodies, and where they really get the plant protein from is the plant. So it's like we're really discussing different things now, as opposed to like back then there wasn't a lot of access to alternative foods, And now it's like you have vegan burgers. It's like it's a whole different world. So It's really like what helps and what makes your life, more productive. And like you said, like if you're not productive with something, cut it out.
Simple as that. You know what I mean? Some people, don't drink alcohol for just so they can try to stay focused. Some people do it to loosen up. Who knows?
Right.
But when I first started doing this
Some
interviewing
people
thing,
can function really well off of it, and some people cannot.
exactly, and it's all about learning about yourself, and you decide what works for you and what does not work for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, would you mind if we go into psychedelics for a little bit or no?
Go for it.
I just want to kind of like get your input on it and like kind of like experiences, if you may. You know what I'm saying?
I actually microdose with mushrooms because I have had like moments where like I've had to deal with depression and different types of like mental health issues that have been from different traumas. Everybody has gone through something, so it's like accepting what the trauma is and then finding the best solution. And for me, I microdose on mushrooms. I love microdosing mushrooms. I actually make my own chocolates just because like I trust what I'm putting in my own chocolates, and I know that the source that I have. So it's like they're now discovering that these things are helpful, and they're trying to implement them in our psychiatric system and psychologically discover different things for it. Like there's different uses for plants. Again, we're back to plants are being rediscovered because we didn't know them that well. They had a relationship with our bodies, and we've had a relationship in our indigenous cultures, but we didn't understand what their purpose was now in the modern world. And I like when science meets up to indigenous traditions, and it's like, oh, we already knew this. Oh, but listen, we know that. Well, we have been telling y'all that there's medicinal things in these practices. Absolutely. That are our traditional ancient practices, and more people are like, whoa, you're just rediscovering the things that are traditionally from our cultures,
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. I like that part of it, I guess. And I don't like the abuse. I don't like people like promoting like something that could be like a very healing, sacred thing. So even with cannabis, like when I was younger, I was very close about like who I would smoke with and why I would smoke with certain people. And I didn't really, even before this whole situation with COVID, I didn't really share joints. I would just roll you your own, because that's my prayer, that's my sacred time, that's my, and only in like certain circles where I'd be like, okay, we're sharing this one, this is for all of us,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's
like, do you remember like the first time you ever smoked weed?
Absolutely.
Share it, please.
Yeah. Huh?
Share the experience with us.
I was pretty young. I'm not going to say how old I was, but actually my father was, he loved to smoke because he worked very hard, and that was the only thing that really relaxed him. So I remember coming home from school and thinking, oh, my dad has cigarettes because I see my friends smoking cigarettes. Mind you, my dad had a roller, so his joints looked like a cigarette. They looked perfect.
Yeah.
So I would be like, oh, my dad has those at home. I'm going to try one, And I remember waiting for the weekend because my parents were going to go somewhere and they were going to take my siblings, and I had to work, so I couldn't go. I was pretty young. I still was already working, but I remember taking the cigarette and going to the bathroom and like watching myself in the mirror smoke it. And like that experience to this day, like nothing compares to like it becomes like your subconscious mind is all of a sudden in front of your face. And you're like, whoa, what is this? It's like your first high of ever, ever, like,
yeah.
A baby discovering their hand type of experience, what I'm saying? Like, it's so cool. And I remember like, I put it out because I was paranoid. I smoked it and I got paranoid like within like 10 minutes of it. I was like, oh, damn. I remember thinking my dad's going to know I smoked this. So I put it out really quick. I sprayed some fucking air freshener or whatever. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to put it back. So I put it back. And then I sat down and I started watching cartoons or something. And then like 5 minutes passed by and I got paranoid again. And I was like, no, he's going to know I smoked it because it's half smoked, so I have to smoke the whole thing. So I went and I picked it up.
Oh, shit.
And I smoked the whole thing. And it was the best day of my life. For the first time ever, I was like, oh my God, this is a different experience. I didn't know. In my mind, it was still a cigarette.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't until later that I did smoke a cigarette, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, I bet you were so
When I
pissed off.
smoked that off. So then I was like, "Oh man, my first time getting high. That's a trip."
I mean, like aside from drinking and stuff, no, I can't smoke cigarettes. You know, like I try to smoke cigarettes. I try to get hooked on them. You know, I try to. You know, I bought myself a pack, but instead I just started handing them out like candy. So I mean, it just
I
wasn't
did
for
the
me.
same thing. I was about 15, and they used to sell illegal cigarettes on like Santa Monica and Western or some shit. I remember going with my friends to some ditching party, and I picked up a pack of some Newports, nasty shit, and
Yeah.
I couldn't finish them. I gave them all away.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why when people were like bragging, like, "Oh man, I love Camel Crush" or "I love American Spirit," and to me, I'm like,
I
I could see it when I drink. Like you know, when I drink, I get it, but like, yeah, I was like sober. Nah, it's just horrible, nasty.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I can't get it with the cigarettes either. I'm expecting weed. I'm like, I gotta get high. That's if I'm gonna smoke anything, it might as well be.
mm.
That's just
Yeah.
my way of thinking about it.
Jeez, how about psychedelics? Well, like how was your first experience with that?
The shrooms, like I said, I love microdoses. Like my thing right now is mostly like I don't really care to do a whole eighth and get all like. I rather like take a slight dose and like do it every once in a while, infrequently. But I had a peyote experience that was really dope. I actually am my great grandmother's indigenous heritage is Huichol because we're from Jalisco, so.
Okay.
I wanted to have an experience with peyote, and I kept asking for it as like a ceremonial thing. I didn't really want to like experience it like drugs or whatever. I didn't want to have that kind of, oh, I'm gonna hang out with my friends and we're gonna do peyote. So I got invited to a teepee ceremony, and it was the teepee leader. He was from Arizona. He grew his own peyote in his backyard, and he had like crushed it. We did the whole ceremony. It was a all night thing. It was like a very powerful prayer. It was very healing, and it was more so of a spiritual experience than anything else.
What, the peyote?
Huh?
What, peyote?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've tried, of course, DMT. There's like a jet to get to the moon, and then there's a spaceship. DMT is the spaceship for sure.
Jesus Christ.
You don't require a lot of it, and you don't need to do it like all the time. I don't understand people who like consistently need that lesson. I don't. I have that door open to me, and then once it's open, I don't need to like continue to. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to revisit that space because I can get there without the DMT. I can get there on my own without that extra. I understand if like people have like a healing. I've heard people try to like get off hard drugs with ayahuasca and DMT, and I understand like why it would have helped them work. But for me, like I experienced it and I had a great experience and a very awakening experience, and then that's it. I don't go around like looking for DMT or looking for mushrooms, or it's just what it is. Like they come and go, and my peyote experience was a one-time thing, and I loved it. And if I ever get invited to another ceremony, I'd be blessed. So.
No, absolutely. I mean, like that's one thing I do tell people sometimes as well is that, like, if you want to like try like mushrooms or acid or anything of the sort, I would just wait for it to find you. Don't go out of your way to try to look for it. It's just like it's like when you go. Yeah, it's like what I tell like some of my friends. Like we'll go to the bar. Like back in like a couple years ago, we would go to the bar, and I would tell them, dude, just focus on having fun. Stop trying to get at girls. If you're having fun, the girls are gonna come to you. You know what I mean? So it's like just enjoy yourself.
You're right. Got a good philosophy there. I like that.
I mean, shit. Out of many encounters that failed every time because of expectations, you kind of just learn to teach yourself some of these remedies.
Absolutely, you do. You get to zone in on the things that are like good practices, best practices, or whatever.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I'm gonna transition a little bit, but like like how did the whole Bruja Bruce come around?
So, I have been a fan of Zay and Kiddo for a while. Like, I love the younger generation of music. To me, is like the most important because it's gonna be where the next, where hip hop goes or where the music goes. So like I love supporting like young stars, young female musicians because there's not a lot of platforms for us out there as it is. So like I became a fan of their music, and then I was actually coming back from a trip in Africa, and they were like, "Yo, you want to do a track together?" And we met up at Kiddo's house, and the rest is history, her story, because it was so magical that we decided to make a group out of it, and so now we have like 5 songs deep.
Okay, yeah, just because I interviewed both of them. Like I released a Zay one today, so for those watching this interview, it just got released, and then I did Kiddo's interview last week, maybe over a week ago.
Yeah.
And so, I remember I think I mentioned it to both of them, but for sure Kiddo. But I'm like, dude, I would be down for like a Brujas podcast.
Yeah, we definitely got to plan one with the 3 of us on one of these interviews for sure, because it's fun. We have a good discussion, and we have a lot to bounce off each other.
Oh hell yeah! And that's why my interviews, I hate the Q&As. That's why I just try to make a conversation of it. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like it's more comfortable. You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So. I trust that.
So that's why like whenever you 3 are ready, let's get that going. But after quarantine, like doesn't really matter to me.
Right? Will there be an after? Hopefully there will be an after. But yeah, for sure. I think there we did discuss doing an interview again, because we do need to. We're actually going to be dropping a video, so we want to put stuff out for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do it then. You know what I mean? Even if it's not quarantine, ready, like lift it up or whatever. Make a trip. Yeah. I mean, like, why not just one trip? Before anything, because everyone's already going everywhere anyway, so it's like not going to make a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, well, we've checked in with each other like once a month since all this stuff happened. Mm-hmm. We either gather at one of our houses and just to like touch base and like hug each other. I mean, it's like a very different type of environment right now, where like we went from seeing each other every week and studio time or at our house, at each other's house, whatever, like to like now we can't really see each other at all.
Yeah.
It's like FaceTime and Instagram and all that. So it definitely has been a transition, and we were in the middle of finishing the album. So,
yeah, I mean, some things happen, but if you really have the passion in it, then you're just gonna have to go ahead and find a way.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Is like we're gonna find a way. We're gonna find every single one that feels like this is like desperation and like there's no way out. We're gonna find a way out. We're gonna find a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. I mean? Just because, like, as a radio person, well, I don't know if I'm going to be on the radio or not. I'm still deciding whether I want to pursue that kind of route, but I definitely want to be in the music industry. But I'm going to give, like, a little gratitude to Big Boy and from Big Boy's Neighborhood, and I'm going to ask one of the questions he would ask. You're on a raft, okay? And you only have room for one more on the boat, and you cannot throw yourself overboard. You have Zay in one hand, and you have Kiddo in the other. Who are you bringing up on the raft with you?
I'm gonna jump in the water with them.
Damn, man, you're late. That's not even a fucking hesitation right there, man. I hate that answer, but I love it at the same time. Shit, man. Loyalty lies strong.
If we gotta sink and swim, then we fucking sink it together.
All right.
I like believe in like looking at yourself in other people. And like if you give me some type of scenario, whether like it's us or them, then it's us.
Okay. Well, damn. Cool. Well, that was like the fastest answer I've ever gotten on here. Shit. So, I kind of do want to go ahead and transition to like another song that you were featured on. From another driver I interviewed, Destruct. You were on the Green Herbs.
Yeah, the Green Herbs.
Yeah, and so how was it even meeting him and then making that song together?
Dang, Destruct and I have known each other a long time. We've been in the same like music scene for a long time, and I've been able to see that brother's career, really transform, and it's been dope. Like we've had the similar circles from like the cultural circles, to the Chicano community, to like the Project Load circle and the hip hop underground world. So that's been cool. And that song came about because he had asked me to come through and do a chorus for him, and he said if I had anybody that could do reggae and dancehall, and I was like, I got my boy Fakir, and shout out to my boy, he's a dope ass reggae dancehall artist who's also bilingual. So I brought him along, and I was like, yo, he could totally throw down on this song, and that was like one of those like stoner nights where it's like it all flowed, you know. They had already done their verses, and we showed up and we just killed the song.
Oh yeah, you know that was actually one of my favorite off that project of his. You know.
Yeah.
So.
That's my boy. Y'all have known him for a while. He's a very consistent artist. I like that about him.
Yes, very, very consistent for sure. Because I've heard about him maybe back in 2015 or 16, one of those 2 years, and like I kept seeing his name pop up on my feed for like the whole time. So it wasn't until like maybe last year where I'm like, you know what, I really have to follow this dude now to see what else he has, because I've been seeing his name from just people I just regularly know. So
yeah, it's, you know, one of those things that Nipsey says, it's like dedication, you know, like you're gonna go through every phase of it. So ultimately, this is like a marathon. It's really up to you if you're gonna, you know, and that if you're gonna finish the marathon, or if you're gonna like let it beat you, you know.
Yep. Absolutely. And
this
then,
game is mostly about longevity. At the end of the day, you know, your song could be a one-hit wonder song, but it's longevity. Like to this day, everybody knows "She Keeps On Passing Me By." Like everybody. Yeah. You can play it any country, anywhere. And that's a LA hip-hop underground song.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. And, you know, where were you at when you got the news about Nipsey?
Damn. I was actually at home. I was getting ready for work. And I watched some story, and I was, like, in shock. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, no. You know, one of those things that hit you, you're like, this is a rumor. Let me, like, wait an hour or two before like I get all upset, but no, it was like it hit you right away, and the news started popping up in the videos, and you know, that was like my first instinct was to call my sister, because my sister actually was the one who introduced me to Nipsey's music, because she was at his release with like the first mixtape he dropped, and then the Crenshaw. My sister was like a fan, like she was like at his sign, you know, whatever CD signings when there was like 20 people there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I called her right away, because I was like, I knew that it was gonna impact her even harder, because we went through this with Pac, you know. So I called her, and she was gone. She took off from work. She had to drive far. She was like, I'm driving far right now, and I was like, all right, well, just check in with me, you know, periodically. I know it's not an easy day for you, so I went to work, and I remember I had a coworker come in with me, and we both had like this long face. It's just like something really heavy, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just, damn, it was hard. I actually lost my homeboy Ross G right after that too. So that one was I mean, Ross G is a personal friend, so that one was very hard, you know, to deal with too. So, and then between that, I had a friend who was part of La Cumbia, they do like cumbia chicha kind of music.
Okay.
And he died too, so it was like that, and it was one of those weeks where you just kind of gotta want to like put your head in the pillow and like not come out of the blanket, you know?
Yeah, I know, man. It's so weird, because you know, like when you hear about someone, you know, getting killed, it's never a good thing, obviously, but when it happens to someone close to you, then it's like, what the fuck, you know? Like you don't really have like an exact emotion or like initial emotion. You're just like kind of like in shock. Like my cousin just got shot less than a month ago right here in Riverside, and so you know it was like, fuck, dude. Like it happens regardless. Like no COVID shit's gonna stop it. No, you know, like it don't matter if you're in front of your house. They're gonna if whoever wants to do it is just gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like, you know how like there's like a I don't want to say like an expiration date, but it kind of feels like that sometimes. I feel like we all come with a purpose, and that purpose, once it's fulfilled, nothing can stop the outcome of whatever happens after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even like I don't try to understand death. I try to like celebrate the life. Because we'll never really understand why someone like, you know, Nipsey's dead, but Tekashi's still fucking out doing dumb shit. Like, you understand? Like, this is like, it's just, there's no way to justify the way life and death work. That's just the way they are, and how we are accepting of, you know, the process of transition is what really is transformative, because you have to, you know, acknowledge that that person's presence is no longer with you in the physical, but everything they taught you and everything that, you know, you were able to experience from being close to them, that's what stays, and that continues to like revisit you as they're gone. You know, my grandma passed away like 2012 from cancer, and I shit you not, every year I hear her stronger, and I hear her, you know, her advice and like all the little tidbits she gave me, and they come back stronger. And every time I'm like thinking I lost, you know, like the memories, they're there, and I'm like, dang, something pops up, you know. And what Nipsey's saying, like, that brother put a lot of work into the neighborhood that he was from and the community that he represented, and you could see that now. It's flourishing. It's becoming, you know, what he would have wanted to see in his lifetime, you know?
Yeah.
That's dope. I like that it inspired a lot more Nipseys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it came to Nipsey, I was a fan of him without listening to any music at first. I listened to a lot of his interviews prior to listening to any song. And then, yeah, I don't know why. It just gravitated me to listen to the interviews prior. Because that's like one thing when it comes to listening to music, is that I like to match the person to the art, to the words that they speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, but you know, condolences to all the people that we've lost, and you know.
Yeah, it was a rough year. 2019 was not easy.
Shit, I definitely can agree with you on that. But we're in 2020 now. It's still not the best, but you're making the most of it. Why?
We have to. You know, adaptation, transformation. It's happened to many generations, and now it's our turn.
Yeah, for sure. And so, you know, we're gonna transition just a little off topic, but you know, I do like the bilingual, you know, setting that you bring to your music. You know, both Spanish and English. And me, like, I'm Mexican. I look white. I understand, but you know, I do like hearing the, you know, Spanish in my music. You know, that's why when it comes to even Belle to Snow to even like Nitty Scott. Nitty Scott's from like New York, and
she's dope. I love Nitty.
Yeah, man, and so that's why like hearing like the bilingual purpose on these tracks is like it just resonates differently. Like I don't know exactly word for word what you guys are even talking about, but
yeah,
it's just that it's just something you feel. It's not something that you have to just understand what they're saying. It's like a feeling. It's like like for a person like myself that don't speak Spanish, I kind of picture it like scatting. You know, like from the 20s, you know? And you just feel it. So that's why I love about your music, that at least the songs I've heard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, how important is it for you to use both, you know, Spanish and
I don't
English?
even think about it. Like, I've been asked this before, and like they asked me, like, specific question, like, how do I write it, and, like, do I write it in English first and then go on? I don't think about it. I've, like, been bilingual all my life, and I've been speaking Spanglish forever. Mm-hmm. So, like, when I write my music, unless I go into it with that purpose, or, like, the artist that I'm working with is like, I want you to rap in Spanish or whatever, you know, sometimes the song asks for that.
Yeah.
So I do it the way that the song is calling for it. So, like, the album I'm dropping has 3 different languages in it. I actually do a song with Zay and Kida where I'm rapping in French, English, and Spanish.
Damn, you speak French too?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Do you speak Japanese as well?
No, but I'm learning Portuguese.
Okay, you know what? Respect for the Portuguese. You know, yeah, that's pretty tight. I'm not gonna front. That's pretty tight. But then, I'm
a polyglot. I was actually gonna minor in linguistics, but it was just too much work. Yeah. But I love languages. My son speaks 5 languages, so I love languages.
Jesus, man. Now I feel like I'm just slacking off on just learning Spanish.
You gotta learn anything. It doesn't matter if you learn it later on in life. You just have to try, because you build different neurons in your brain. So you want to do that.
No, absolutely. I mean, as for myself, like at least the women that I seriously date, they all speak Spanish. They're all they're, you know, Hispanic and Latina, and that's why I like to keep my women at. And it's like I'm the white guy pretty much. Like I'm Mexican, but I'm the white guy that gets introduced to these families. And then I'm used to being called Miklo and Guero and everything that relates to it. So it's like, damn, I need to learn how to speak Spanish so I could like.
That's funny because my abuelita was very güerita, like very, very güerita, and people thought she was. And she was born in California in like the 1930s, but she was raised in Mexico her whole life. So she didn't speak a lick of English. Besides, hi, I'm Becky. That's basically all her English.
Yeah.
And everybody would always speak to her in English, and she would be like, and never wanted to learn English. She was like, whatever. She only spoke Spanish.
Yeah,
and
like.
we learned as kids to only speak to her in Spanish because she wouldn't feed us otherwise.
Yeah, like for me, like I would always go into like meeting someone that spoke Spanish with the same 3 phrases back and forth. You know, the same introduction, and then that's kind of where it died out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So for me, it's like my brain, because it already works like that. I actually do translations at a professional level. So for my brain, it actually already works with multiple languages. So when I write a song, like, it's not a hindrance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I chose English for this song and Spanish for that song and bilingual for this other one. No, it's like...
This happens.
Yeah. And with the French song, I actually had a French song with Destruct that we never dropped because I think we lost the files or something happened. But I wrote a French song with him, and he rapped in Portuguese. It was dope. It was a dope song. But with my French song with Zay and Kiddo, like... I had already written that chorus, and like we were in the studio, and I was working on my album, and they were coming over to work on Bruja stuff, and they heard it, and I heard them, and I was like, "You guys want to go on the song?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure." So it worked out. Like it kind of like they just jumped in, and it flows really dope. The song's dope. I like the vibe. It's got like a true hip hop boom bap vibe to it. You know?
Absolutely. You know, speaking of boom bap, man, I mean, like, how was it meeting Vel, and then also like being able to, you know, create music together?
I'm actually friends with Vel, so it was really like natural. She was working on an album. She knows about my music, and I know about hers, and I respect and admire her as an artist, and she respects and admires me. And she was like, "Can you do a verse?" And I was like, "Absolutely! Like, I'm gonna do a verse on your shit." Like, and she sent me the beat, and I was like, just laced the track. I think at Loudon spot, and I honestly like Vel is my friend. Like, to me, like as an artist, she's exceptional. As a musician, she's exceptional. As just everything she does is just like to the degree that I want to be at too. Like they say, keep friends around you that inspire you. Like, so those are the things that I like really take on to heart. Like, I love working with women like Zay and Kiddo and Vel and the women that I have in my circle because they inspire me to be even a better me. You know what I mean? And I see Vel's shine, and I just like, I praise it. I'm like, love it. I want to throw more and more shine her way because I think that she deserves all the accolades. She works very hard, at doing like what I call sharp. We call it slice. We slice the beats because it's so sharp. The bars are sharp. The songs are super crisp and clean, and they really represent her, as an artist. And it's a unique sound, and that's something that like I feel like will be the longevity of an artist is them sticking to their truest self. And that's what really ultimately, you don't need to have a huge following. You don't need to have a lot of people that like you don't really need that extra. You need just a soul core following of bomb people that really appreciate the art that you make, and that are very appreciative and grateful that you are creative and that you can provide this outlet for them,
Yeah.
and inspire them. At the end of the day, like, we inspire each other as artists, whether we're doing podcasts and radio or, hip-hop songs. It's like we are inspiring each other and we're pushing each other to do better content, to produce better art, to get even more creative. And now we really have to think outside of the box because performing is not going to be the same, and that's not an option for a lot of us right now. So, like, a lot of people like Vel, took a big cut out of her, like, lifestyle. She went from, like, being able to, like, do this regularly as, like, her, profession to now has to work at other things like, that bring the same amount of income, the same amount of like, notoriety, and that's hard. Like, it's gonna be harder as artists for us without that connection to the people. It's gonna go back to like word of mouth and telling, your friends about her, and, her telling other people about me, and me telling people about Zay and Kato and you know what I'm saying, finding out about me through, that's the way it's gonna eventually be beneficial to our community of independent artists.
Yeah.
Whether it's, like I said, whether it's painting, jewelry making, or beat making, or rapping, all of that is going to depend on how we can communicate as a community of hip-hop, as a community of independent artists, as a community of creatives that want to be self-sustainable after all this, through it too.
Yeah, and and I think that was like, damn, who did I had? I felt like I just had something like this conversation close to this about, we had the internet now. That's how we're able to like, spread our name around and get comfy with everybody. But then it's like, it's not like before where you had to have the talent to go ahead and, get this, show people, hey, this is why you should really fuck with me. You know what I mean? And and I feel like if we're going backwards on that kind of word of mouth type of thing, I believe it's actually going to be a lot better for authenticity and a lot more, a lot more like fuck. It's not a words about like more like a cult like following for yourself. Because now they're actually understanding what the hell you are and what you're about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Authenticity and talent should have been what was the markers for the success of an artist. But as we can see, like, there's a control issue. They're controlling access, they're controlling the way that the money flows and the way notoriety and exposure flows. So we have to take back that power, because at the end of the day, I'm nobody without the listeners, and I don't make the music just for my own ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. And for me, like I dig it. For even like as older the songs are right now, I that's my kind of ear. Like I have an ear for like almost everything, even if it doesn't appeal to most people. It's just like there's something different about it, and that's why I kind of stick to it sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I would rather have a solid, following of 20 good listeners than like 50,000 don't really care for like what I'm saying. But like, I'm not about the image, I'm about the message.
Mm-hmm.
So if at the end of the day the message gets over their heads, then it wasn't meant for them.
Absolutely. And so that's just like a different way that we all kind of like operate. Man, I totally spaced out right now. It sucked for some reason. I don't know why.
It's all good.
Shit. All right, so I kind of remember where I'm at, I think, but as much as it was for like the older sounds and such, like what can we like? Do we have any dates for like any newer music coming out, especially for a solo Sista Eyerie?
The solo project will be out next month, and
shit,
we're dropping a video in July, I think so.
All right, for sure.
But the Lopez album won't be out till the end of the year, but we'll be dropping the video.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do we have like a name for the upcoming?
Huh?
Do we have a name for the upcoming project? Ah, okay.
It's just right now we just have a song, and the song will be pretty much what will drive whatever the listenership's gonna be like.
Yeah.
I really like how different it is from what I already do, and how it pulls us as artists out of our shells into different. It's like something different, something very unique.
Well,
which is why we decided that we should have a group.
Yeah, I mean I think that's another thing that solidifies you guys a lot stronger. And you guys, I don't know if you see it the way I do, but you guys already have like a strong presence just because you already have harmonizing sounds, but then you also have like a straight like lyrical like okay like yeah I'm a woman, but that's not what I'm just gonna be talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then on top of that, you also have like the different spiritual outlooks. You have different fundamentals that you guys bring to the table. So that's why I'm excited to hear that come about. But your solo album, you said, do you have a name for that?
Yeah, next month. I had already thought that I would have it done in May, but because because of this whole situation, it kind of pushed back a lot of things, you know. So I hope by like the end of June it should be out, and it'll be out on all platforms.
Yeah, but what's the name of the album?
Oh, Anything.
Anything. Okay, see.
Yeah, that's why I dropped recently a collaboration with my friend for the makeup line, Anything Gold. So her makeup line is called Ego Trip Cosmetics, and Belle dropped some cute, you know, glittery stuff for your girlfriend type of stuff. Or like, so we just decided like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do the Anything album release. Why don't we drop this, you know, glitter for women? It's like a vegan, cruelty-free makeup, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like one thing.
I am about supporting entrepreneurship, you know, and specifically for women, because we, like I said, we need that platform and we need that support. Yeah. So, you know, if someone comes to me with an idea, or I have an idea, I look for the way to manifest it.
Oh yeah.
And it so happened that it was like this, you know, Anything Gold, and I was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Like, I did the Anything album, and I'm gonna drop it, and you know, it's gonna be for the people. It's about it being for the community, really. Yeah,
and you know, and I agree with you on all that stuff. Like for myself, like I like a lot of like female like craftsmen. You know what I mean? And it's like, especially, well, obviously speaking surrounding about music, but it's like I like it because you know they're it's just another side of the table. You know, like.
Right.
And I just want to pursue, you know, like I want to like push them out a lot more, regardless of what they're talking about. I mean, like it doesn't matter, but it's like, you know, this is like another dynamic that people are overlooking all the time. You know, so if you're not selling sex with it, then most people are just ignoring it, and I just think that there's more to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, and it's not that like, oh, don't sell the, you know, sexuality of it. There's not gonna get, but I can't get away from being a female like that. Like I said, I walk into a room, that's the first thing people notice. It's not like don't use whatever you'd like to use to empower you. It's more so like there's a lot of it already. How about the counterculture? How about the one where like you measure my bars and not my sex and gender and how much clothes I got on? You know what I mean? Like things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like there can be a balance, but it just matters about how much you want to sell yourself as. You know what I mean?
I feel like whatever makes you empowered as a female, as a male, as whatever you decide to label yourself as, whatever non-binary thing, whatever empowers you, do more of that. Whatever holds your spirit high and, you know, your morals high, and you feel like holds value to who you are, do more of it. Continue to feel that value, and you know, even if it means that, like, some people might feel, like, offended or whatever, like, find why they're so offended by your shine, you know? And keep shining, and keep glowing, and keep being more of who you are, your truest self.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a couple things I do on the show, you know, before we close out and stuff.
Okay.
But, you know, let's just say about this quarantine, let's say it gets extended out for the rest of the year, okay? And, you know, you only have, and for some reason the Wi-Fi fucks up, and now you're only left with 3 options to listen to on, like, Spotify or whatever. You know what I mean? What 3 artists are you going to be rocking with for the rest of the year?
Damn, okay. Can it be it has to be some, like, modern, or it doesn't have to be?
Oh, no, it's whatever's available.
Just 3?
3 artists or bands, that's all you can rock with. But I'm going to give it, but here's the twist, though.
Okay.
You get like their whole discography, such as like their features or the songs that they worked on. You know, so that's why you're gonna get creative with this answer.
Okay, 3 artists. Okay, the whole discography, and I get 3 artists. I only get to fuck with 3 artists for the rest. Okay, John Coltrane.
John Coltrane.
Yeah, John Coltrane. Bob Marley. And Billie Holiday.
Billie Holiday. Okay. You know, yeah. I think that was the very first time someone did not answer like hip hop questions, like responses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I dig it. And I mean, I remember when it came to Bob Marley, man, and my dad tried to get me onto Bob Marley at such a young age. but like my mind is like obviously everywhere else. So I really couldn't get to resonate with Bob Marley so much growing up. As of maybe the past couple years, then I started listening to Bob Marley a lot more.
Yeah. Because, when I used to listen to him a lot more, but, I read the Reader book and I kind of, like, stepped away from it because there was some weird, like, stuff in the book that kind of, like, was contradicting of who he was as a person. But what I realized is, like, we can't look at the person separate from the art, It has to be, like, the whole package. And what he said really resonated with me even now. Like, the things that he says are relative to what's happening even now, Like, it's very true that we definitely have to, like love each other unconditionally. Could you be loved? And we definitely have to, like, stand up for our own rights because we can't just be sheeple, And, like, a lot of the things that he said are, like, they're, like, again, they've lived past his lifetime. They've lived into multiple generations of children, and, like, to me, that's the most important thing is, like, the legacy you leave as an artist, you should leave the world better.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, now that I think about it, it kind of did lead me into my next odd question that I do here, because there's times where, like, I want to go for, like, I want to have the right playlist whenever I get into certain things, whether it's, like, for a road trip, for a first date. But I'm going to give you the mood as what's, like, a song you would like to smoke to.
Damn. So I have a favorite song that, like, hands down, like, my only, like, I could play it, like, 10 times in a row and not get tired of it. It's called I Love Marijuana by Linval Thompson, who's a old reggae head, like, from the 60s. And it's, like, one of my favorite songs to get high to. Because he just starts off with, like, I love marijuana, and then it just goes off after that. So it's like I will smoke to that song and play it over and over and over and over. I love that song.
Dang. All right, that's pretty dope, man. I like that. And so we got anything coming out soon, by next month.
Very, very soon.
All right. Let me know what day it is, because if anything, I might just release this interview like day before or day of, maybe.
Okay.
Just to,
for sure.
Yeah, because I usually try to like space all my interviews, like in order. But like for like special like occasions like this is like good timing. It's like, all right, like I'll just boost yours up just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Totally, absolutely. It's just getting mastered now. We're down to the last couple songs.
All right, and do we have like a leading single that's gonna be coming out soon?
Huh?
Do we have a single that's gonna be coming out soon?
Yes. We're gonna drop 2 singles. We're gonna drop Chica Poderosa with Vel.
Okay.
And we're gonna drop Anything. And then there'll be a secret drop with the Brujas. Because I have a Brujas song that will lead into us dropping the Brujas project.
Okay, cool. And then, anything. I'm guessing that's like your main drink of choice?
Yeah, I mean, it was more, okay, so Anything, the song, is a challenge of a song, kind of, because I used 16 different alcohols for the 16 bars about my lovers.
Jesus Christ.
So like, Anything is like a nickname I gave my lover. And like, I love Henny to the extent where like it fucks me up, and so like love does that to you. Like I love, and it fucks you up. So
yeah, absolutely.
It kind of like correlates to not just like Hennessy like as the liquor, but like anything can happen. Like in love, anything can happen. When you like do music, anything can happen. When you hang out with someone, anything can happen.
Yeah, very true. But damn, 16 different lovers?
In the bars.
I was gonna say, you pimping, dude. I was about to like give you a lot of shine for
bars,
that.
Right? The bars for 16 bars, 16 lovers. So.
Absolutely.
And each one is like, a different liquor.
For sure. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that then, for sure.
I am looking forward to releasing it for y'all. I really want everyone to, listen to it.
For sure. I gotta get that exclusive. Hint.
Got it.
Cool. Well, you know what? Just like an intro, I don't have an outro either, but I do go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation. Here with a very special guest. There we are. Cool.
Thanks, man.
No, thank you. I really appreciate this. I'm excited to release this interview.
Me too. Stay up. Stay positive, y'all.
Take care.